Hello everybody, it's Wendy, and today we are going to make a necklace using some products from the October 2020 edition of the Bargain Bead Box. Now, if you're not familiar with Bargain Bead Box, it is a monthly subscription service. You get between $65 and $70 of beautiful beads and findings and charms and chain and all kinds of great stuff. Usually, well, always some gemstone beads as well. And it is shipped to your door for $17.98 a month. It is a great, great deal. It is my favorite beading subscription service. I think it's the best value. I think it's great for beginning beaders because you get everything you need pretty much to make several pieces of jewelry. I usually get 10 or 12 pieces of jewelry out of each box. And then it's great for advanced beaders too because you can build your stash with it. So it's definitely a great value. So if you're interested in subscribing to Bargain Bead Box, I will have a link in the description box below, and if you use this code Wendy2, it will get you $2 off of your first box. Also, with your subscription, you get a $30 coupon to use in their sister store, and you can use that over and not $30, 30% off coupon to use in their sister store, which if you buy enough could equal $30. But their sister store has really great prices, and then you get the 30% off, and you can use it over and over all month long, so that's a great deal as well. And that comes along with your subscription. So if you also, if you're not subscribed to Bargain Bead Box, you still can shop in their store. And if you want to shop in their store and use this coupon code, it'll give you $2 off of your order if you're not a subscriber. So anyway, that's Bargain Bead Box. I will link the information in the description box below, and we're just going to get right into this necklace today. So what you're going to need if you want to make this, and I'm kind of designing on the fly. I have an idea in my head, but I have not made this, obviously, because if I had made it, I would have used my beads, and I don't want to use my beads. I want to save them for this tutorial. So you're going to need some Coriana chain. Now, this is beading chain. You can bead right on it. It is available on my website, and I will link that in the description box below. I love this chain because it's just a beautiful... it just looks beautiful. You don't have to cover it up. You know, it's just really pretty. So you can bead right on it. So you're gonna need some Coriana, and I'm using the platinum. You're going to need the big pendant from the Bargain Bead Box this time. Now I'm making a statement necklace right now. It's gonna have some dangles and stuff, so it's gonna be kind of big and large. I'm using the spacer beads. These were in the Bargain Bead Box this month as well. I'm using these beautiful green flattened bicones. Look how sparkly they are. They're so pretty. So I'm using those. I'm using 3 of these coin beads that were in the box. I love the way these coin beads looked with this denim blue rondelle and the green. I thought this was so pretty together. So I'm using the denim blue rondelles, and then I've added in some bicones from my own stash that are kind of, they have the same finish as these. And they just kind of tie it all together pretty well too. So I've got all those beads. I have a bunch of crimp beads because we're going to do kind of a floating sort of necklace this time. And so I'm going to need a lot of crimp beads, and I'm going to use some clamshell covers. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I should have 6. 2, 4, well, maybe not. I don't know. I can't remember. We'll pull out another one if we need it. I have a lobster for my clasp. And sorry, I just hit the camera. I was actually getting the lobster out. I forgot to. And I think that's all you're going to need. Oh, maybe a head pin for the dangle if you want to do a chain extender and a piece of chain of some sort. I'll just pull a little piece of silver chain out of my stash over here, out of my cut chains, and that will be my little extender. So I forgot to pull that out as well. I thought I was doing really good this morning, but it's really early. It's like 6 and apparently I'm not as awake as I thought I was, so I'll have to find a piece of chain extender here in a minute. Okay, but anyway, this is what you're gonna need. So if you want to make this necklace with me, go ahead and grab your stuff and we'll get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the dangles that we're going to hang down from our little pendant here. So I want the middle one to be the longest one. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut my Coriana chain the length that I want this middle one to be. And I think I'm going to do about 2.5 inches here, because I want to have room to put the clamshell cover, or not the clamshell, but the crimp on the bottom, and the clamshell on the top, and I still want it to, you know, have room for the beads. So actually I think I'm going to go, yeah, I'm going to go 2.5. I can always cut it a little shorter if I want to. So let me find my cutters. Okay. So 2.5 inches is where I'm going to cut this one, right about here. And I'm going to have 3. I'm not going to do each one because this coin bead is kind of bigger and I don't want to make it look crowded. So I'm going to do that one there. I'm going to do a shorter one on this link. Whoops. Over here. And I think probably about 2 inches is where I'm going to go with this one. I don't want it to be too much shorter. I just want that middle one to hang down just a little bit longer. And so I will do a 2-inch piece for the other side as well. Okay, so I'm just measuring and cutting. And there we have it. So I've got a bunch of chain left here. I'm just going to set it aside because we're going to use that later. Now I'm going to go ahead and create the dangles. Now I can always add in more dangles if I want to. We'll see how it looks. I want it to be pretty, like, I want it to be big, like a statement necklace, but I don't want it to be too crowded here. So, and these coin beads, they are kind of big, so you can't have them, I don't want them bumping up against each other, if that makes sense, okay? So see, here's my coin bead on this one. I'm probably going to put it right here on this one, maybe put a bead below it, and same thing here. So they're going to hang kind of like in that pattern. So like I said, I don't want them to be too, but I could put a couple strands in between here of just the bicones. So we'll see how it goes. Alrighty. So I'm going to go ahead and crimp off the bottom of my chain here. So I've got my little crimp beads. I'm just going to pull out 3 of them. Now you can use crimp bead covers on this if you want to. I usually don't, because I don't feel like that they really are that obtrusive on the bottom of these little dangles. I just haven't had a problem with it, so I'm not going to use a crimp bead cover. But like I said, if you want to, you can. And I'm just going to use my regular chain nose pliers to smash these down. I'm not using crimping pliers because they never make it look any better anyway, in my opinion. So I'm just going to get it down to the very bottom, and I'm going to crimp this really tightly. Okay, you want to crimp it really good, make sure it's on there, pull on it, make sure it's not going anywhere. Then I'm going to put my, actually, I think I am going to put a bead on the bottom. I'm going to do this little spacer bead on the bottom. And then I'll do my coin bead. Yeah, right like that. Put my coin bead on. Okay. And then I'm going to just do a few of the bicones. So we'll go ahead with, let's see, I'm going to do a blue bicone, then the rondelle, then the green bicone, whoops, then another blue bicone, and then another rondelle. And that gives me enough room to finish off my chain up here with a clamshell cover. And actually I'm going to put one more of these on. I think I can fit it on there. Oh, and we're going to need some jump rings. I forgot to mention that. Now you don't want these beads to be super tight. See if I press this down how stiff that becomes. You don't want them to be like that. You want it to flow, to be able to bend. So don't make it too tight on there. So I've got all my beads on. Well, I did. I knew that that one was going to pop off because it is close to the top. Let's see if I can do this. Alright, I've got all my beads on here. I'm just going to grab this right here with my plier, just to kind of hold it. And I'm going to go ahead, whoops, and put my clamshell cover on first. I always get ahead of myself and want to put my crimp on before I forget the clam. Let's put the clam on, stick it right on here. Okay. Just balance it on there, put your crimp bead in there, This gets a little fiddly because you got all the beads on here, but you can do it. Just have to fiddle around with it a minute here. I've got fuzz from my bead mat getting on me too. Okay, so go ahead and put your little crimp bead on. Come on, crimp bead. Get on there. There we go. Alright, now, see how I've got it in there? This is how I'm doing it. I'm holding it with my pliers. I'm going to go ahead and grab the top of this with my other plier just so everything doesn't come off. Okay, so it's kind of loose and dangly, and that's how I want it. I don't want to shove this down and make it stiff, okay? So I'm going to grab my little crimp bead with this plier, pull it up just a tad, and crimp it down. You want to crimp it really good. I like these Xuron pliers because they have pretty good precision tips. They're easy to reach in tiny places like this. Okay, so there's what I have. I'm going to go ahead and, whoops, that's not my cutter. I'm going to go ahead and cut just this little snippet off so it's not sticking out the top. And then I'm going to close my clamshell. Okay, and there's what I've got. A nice little dangle. It's got some movement to it. I didn't make it too stiff, so that's what I'm going to do there. Now I'm going to do the middle one. So same thing, we're going to crimp the bottom off first, right here. And see what I mean by, the crimp bead shows on the bottom, but it's really not, it's not obtrusive, I don't think. I mean, if you don't like it, you can definitely use a crimp bead cover, and I usually trim that a little bit just to, there we go. So there that is. Now, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. I'm going to make this one exactly the same as the one, or no, this is the middle one. I'm not going to make it exactly the same. I'm going to make it different. Alright, so we'll put the spacer bead on, then our dangle. Now, I just want to look at this because I do want them to hang a certain way. Okay. Now I'm going to do the bicone. I'm going to follow the same pattern that I did on the other one here. The rondelle, the little green bicone, another blue one, another rondelle. Now, because this one's longer, I'm going to need a few more beads on here. So if you can see, when I hang it, it's going to kind of have the same pattern as the other one. I'm just going to keep following the same. I'm just going to add a few more beads. So I'm going to repeat the pattern. So I've got my rondelle, my green bicone, my blue bicone, my rondelle, my green bicone. I'm going to do another blue bicone. Just like that. And let me see, I probably need to do another rondelle. And that is probably going to be my limit, though I would love to fit another green bicone on there. I don't know if I can, but I'm going to try it. So let me see if I can fit one more green bicone on there and grab this with my pliers. If I can do it, then I think it'll look better having the other little green one on there. Alright, now we're going to put our clam on, same as we did before, and our crimp bead. And I'm sorry if my hand gets in the way here, but there's really no way I can do this but like this. I can't. I have to see what I'm doing to get this crimp bead on here, so. Alright, there it is. It's on there. It's precarious, but it's on there. So we're going to take the other plier and grab the top of this. Yeah, I think it's going to work. Okay, now I'm going to get in here with my plier and I'm going to crimp this down. I'm going to make sure it's not too tight and causing it to be stiff, but we want to crimp it down very tightly. Okay. And then I'm just going to go ahead and close my lobster. Now, I a lot of times put E6000 in these lobsters. It's downstairs, and so I don't have it with me. But you can put a little dab of E6000 or any jewelry glue really inside there, and that'll secure your lobster even a little bit more. Okay, so there's the 2 strands. We're going to do our last one here. So again, we just take the crimp bead on the bottom, just like this. Crimp it down tightly. Pull on it, make sure it's tight. I've actually had these come off before, so you want to pull on them and make sure they're really tight, okay? Then we're going to do our spacer. And our coin bead. Little blue bicone. Green bicone. Oops, wait a minute. Blue bicone rondelle. Make sure I do it right. Green bicone. Blue bicone. Rondelle. And green bicone. Alright. Let's get our other clamshell and crimp bead on. There's that one. Whoops, I just took it off accidentally. Get back on there. Okay. Clamshell. Crimp bead. Did it get on there? Yes, it did. And we're going to go ahead and crimp this down. And again, you want to move it up just a little so that it's not making your strand stiff, or your link stiff here, your dangle, whatever this is. Okay, cut that off. I'm just going to make sure this is crimped down really good. And then I'm going to close my clamshell. Okay, so there we have our 3 little dangles. I think they look really cute. Okay, so I told you we're going to need some jump rings, but I did not pull mine out, so let me grab some. I like to use tiny jump rings to hook these things on, okay? The smaller, the better, in my opinion. Now look at this one. That one is tiny. I don't think that'll work, but I do have some 4mm ones in here that will work, so let's do that. I don't know what that one is. It's like a 1mm. It's teeny. Alright, so we've got our jump rings here. And I'm just going to hook these on. I'm going to make sure that I get this one in the very middle. So I don't know how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's odd that it would be an odd number. I think it, well, I guess that it has to be. Okay, so here we go. Let's hook this in. Right in the middle. Okay, there we go. Yeah, if it wasn't an odd number, then it wouldn't hang right. Duh, it's early, like I said. Okay, so there's that one. Now on this one, do I want to go over just 2? Yeah, I think I do. I think I just want to go over 2. So I'm going to go over 2 from the middle and hang it on. Do I want to hang it on the 3rd one, or do I want to hang it on the 2nd one? I want to go to the 3rd one here. I'm going to go over 2 and hang it on the 3rd one from the middle on both sides. Yeah, that's going to look good. It's going to hang right on the bottom. I was kind of worried about the coin beads. I just don't want them to be too crowded. I'm going to skip 2 and hang it on the 3rd. Now, I could even go in and do another one, but I don't have any more coin beads. I mean, I do, but I'm saving them for earrings. And I don't really want to put any more coin beads on, but I could go down with some bicones and the rondelles. And I might actually do that. I'm kind of thinking here. Like I said, I'm designing on the fly. I think it needs it. I think it looks kind of funny without it. So we're going to take our Coriana chain. Okay. And I'm going to cut this one at 1.5 inches. Where's my ruler? Okay, so 1.5 inches. 2 pieces of the chain. I just think it needs another, I think it looks kind of weird without it, so we're going to do it. Okay. Now this one will be a little different because I'm not going to have the coin bead on it, but I am going to go ahead and put a crimp bead on the bottom. And I do have some more of the coin beads. I could go ahead and do another 2, but I think I don't want to. I think the 3 there are good enough. And I really wanted to save those other 2 coin beads for earrings. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do on this one is I'm just going to do the spacer bead on the bottom. Like this. And then I'm just going to do the rondelle and follow it up that way. So rondelle, green bead, green bicone, blue bicone, and then repeat that. Rondelle, green bicone. Ow, that is sharp on the bottom. I just poked my finger. Be careful with that Coriana chain. It can be very sharp on the bottom. Okay, let's look at this and see how it's going to go. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. I really need another rondelle on there, but I don't know if I can fit that on there or not. I'm going to try it. It's going to be very, very iffy, but let me see if it'll work. So I'm going to take my clam. You really don't need much room on the end. It's just a matter of, can you get the stuff to go on? And yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that with another rondelle, so I'll do another green bicone, and hopefully that will look okay. I think it will. All right. Now we'll do the clamshell. And our crimp bead. Get on there, dude. Get on. And like I said, it's very fiddly, but it will go on, but it's very fiddly. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this one on. I'm not going to torture you by making you watch this again. I'm going to do this one, and I'm going to do the other side, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got my other 2 dangles pretty much made. I wanted to show you guys, if you're having trouble getting your crimp bead on there, you can open this clamshell up. I mean, they'll come open all the way, and that gives you a little more room in there to get the crimp bead on. So see how far that clamshell is opened, and then you just close it back up the same, and that, you know, makes it a little bit easier to get your crimp bead on and smash down in the middle there. So sometimes I have to do that if it's just really, I'm really having a hard time with it. So I'm going to close him back up. It makes it a little harder to get him closed back up, but you can do it. So there's that one. Okay, so here they are. I'm going to hang these on the last little hole on this whole thing. Okay, so here we go with this one. There's that one. Yeah, that does look better. It definitely needed the other little one on there. And let me find a jump ring. Okay, so there you go. So that, yeah, that looks really good. I like it. Okay, so let me move some of these out of the way. Okay, now we're going to use our Coriana chain. So this necklace, I do not want to be super long. You know, you want it to hang right kind of at your collarbone because it is a statement necklace. So I'm going to cut my chain. Let me measure this here. I just held it up to myself to see where it needed to fall. And it looks like I've got about 12, right at about 23 inches. I'm going to go a little shorter. I'm going to do about 22 and a half because I do want it to hang up near my collarbone. So let me measure this out again. 12. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to do about 22 inches. I want it to be pretty high up, and I always end up making my necklaces too long, and then I regret it. So we're going 22 inches on this one. All right, so here it is. Here's our chain. And we're going to make a floating, oh, actually, we do need a head pin. I'm going to hang the coin bead in the middle right here. So let me grab a head pin. I thought I had one out here, but I don't see it now. And I'm just going to make a dangle here. I wanted to hang that coin bead in the middle. I like it right there. So we're going to bend this over, 90-degree angle. Cut it off. And roll a loop back. Now this one I'm going to hang right on the loop here on the chandelier finding. I'm not going to use a jump ring because that would make it, I think, too long. So I'm just going to hang this right on here. Easier said than done, apparently. Okay. Yeah, definitely easier said than done, but it'll work. There we go. All right. Make sure that's closed up so it doesn't fall out on me. Okay. Yeah, there we go. That is what I wanted to do. Okay. Now we're going to hang the whole thing from a small jump ring on the Coriana chain. And you need the jump ring because if you put the Coriana chain right through there, it's not going to hang right. It's going to hang sideways. You don't want that. So we're going to put a jump ring on here and we're going to just hang it right on the chain. Okay. And we're going to go right through here. And my jump ring is not closed very good. I need to fix that. Let me fix that jump ring because I definitely don't want the chain coming out, want it falling off. There we go. That's better. Okay. So here's what we have. Now, I'm going to create some floating sections on this necklace going up the sides. So I need to make sure I'm going to match these up right here. I need to make sure that they're even, okay, for when I do this. It's very important. Okay, so I'm going to come up probably about this far here, which is probably about 1.5 inches. And I'm going to put a crimp bead. Okay, so just put your crimp bead on. Let it fall down to about where you want your bead section to start and crimp it down. Just like that. Okay, and then we're going to do the same exact thing on the other side. Now it's very important that these are perfectly even when they hang. So line up your ends again. Just you got to be really tedious about this. And then line up your crimp bead and make sure that it's exactly opposite the other one. Okay, just like that. And then just crimp it down. There we have it. Okay, perfect. All right, now we're going to add on our little bead sections. And for my bead section, I'm going to do, okay, a rondelle. I'm going to do the blue bicone. Actually, I'm going to do the green bicone. blue bicone, come on, get on there. Some of these bicones must have smaller holes because some of them are a little harder to get on the chain than others. Okay, another green one. Another blue rondelle. And another spacer bead. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to put the crimp on. And what I've done is I've created what looks like, kind of like would be a link, but is not. It's just floating on my necklace. So make sure this isn't too tight because you want it to have a little movement, and just crimp it down. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So I've got my spacer, my rondelle, green bicone, blue bicone, I must keep picking up the same one with the small hole in it. Blue bicone, green bicone, rondelle, oops, and spacer bead, and a crimp. Come on, little crimp bead, get in there. There we go. All right. And I'm just going to crimp it down again, making sure that it's got a little room for movement there, not too much. Okay, so there that is. Now I'm going to go on up the chain here a little bit. I'm going to measure actually how far I went here. So here I've got about 1.5 inches. So I'm going to go about 1.5 inches up this side, which will put it right about here. And I'm going to put my other crimp bead right there. I want them to be kind of spaced out evenly on this. And you can eyeball it. I mean, you can tell if it looks like it's totally off, but that looks about right there. Let me come down just a tad. Whoops. Right about there. Crimp it down. It's really mostly important that your two sides line up. So you do want to make sure that the two sides line up. Go ahead and put another one on. Again, make sure everything's lined up really well. You can measure if you want. I'm really not much of a measurer. I measure a little bit like I just did, but mainly I just kind of eyeball it, make sure it's looking good, and that's what I go with. So, alright, now we're just going to do the same little pattern that we did right here one more time. So we've got spacer, rondelle, green bicone, whoops, blue one. How much you want to bet? I guess this grabbed the same one. Nope, I did not. Green one, blue rondelle, and one more spacer. And one more crimp. Here's one right here. Let's use it. Okay. And again, same thing. Just make sure you got a little movement room there and crimp it down. Same thing on the other side. Blue rondelle. Green one. So So I got my, I'm wanting to go home next weekend to visit Landon because he's having his 19th birthday. And I haven't seen my kids or my family since Mother's Day, and it's just getting to me. So, I went and had a COVID test because my dad is immunocompromised, and I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I didn't take anything home to him. So, I just checked it online, and I'm negative, so yay. Not that I really had any question, but still, I just wanted to be totally positive, you know, that I wasn't going to put my dad in any kind of danger. So you just put this other crimp bead on and crimp it closed, just like this. Okay, and there we have it. So I'm not going to do another one up the top because I don't think it needs it. I'm just going to stop right here like this is, and we're going to go ahead and finish it. So let me grab a couple more clamshells out because I used my other two putting these other strands on that I didn't anticipate. So let me grab a couple more. Here's one. And the clamshells and the Coriana chain are both available on my website in case I think I mentioned that, but just in case I didn't, they are up there. Alright, so we're going to take a crimp. We're going to put it on here, and we're going to put our clamshell. Oh, no, we did the clam. I always do that backwards every single time. As many times as I've done this, which is probably, goodness, a couple hundred, maybe more, I do it backwards every single time. So there we go. Now we're just going to go ahead and crimp this down up here. Pull our clamshell up, close it, and do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to remember to put my clamshell on first. There we go. Then our crimp bead. Well, I keep dropping these crimp beads off. It's going to be one of those days. There are some days when I literally feel like I drop every single thing I pick up. It might be one of those days. Close this up. Okay. Now we're going to open our big jump ring for our lobster to clasp in. Put it right on the clamshell. And I'm not even going to do an extender on this. Well, goodness, I don't know. I don't think I am, because it needs to be a short, necklace. It doesn't, you don't want that hanging really long, I don't think. So I'm not going to do an extender on this one. I'm just going to put my lobster clasp on right here. And I am going to do an extender. I'm sorry, guys. I can't not do it. I want to not do it, but I can't not do it because what if, I don't know, what if I'm wearing something that has a different neckline or whatever? I can't not do it. So let me grab some extender chain out here. I don't have a whole lot. I'm going to use this one. It's kind of cute. It's bubbly. Yep, I have to put the extender on. It's just, I can't not do it. It's my OCD, I think, but maybe not. I don't know. Okay, so there it is. Let's make a little dangle for it. Little dangle. I'll do, actually, I'm just going to do a spacer bead, a rondelle, and a spacer bead. Make it simple. Okay, go ahead and roll this back. And we're just going to stick this right on the end of our extender. Make sure it's closed. There we go. And there we have it. So that's a nice professional finish on a very beautiful chain. And like I said, you can this chain can show. It's really pretty. I've got it in rose gold, silver, and gold. And here is our pendant. So let me put this on a form and I'll show it to you. Okay, so here's the necklace. I've got it in my light box on a form, and I think it turns out quite beautiful. I really like the way that the statement part turned out. It hangs perfectly, and then the beads going up the side, just really in the floating style, I think are really pretty. So I really like this one. This is the first one I've made from this month's bargain bead box, and so I'm going to do a matching pair of earrings hopefully, and who knows what else we'll get into, but anyway, and this is not actually crooked, it's just the way I've got it hanging on the form. I have it clipped in the back with an alligator clip, but I did make sure all those were very even. So all right, if you're interested in subscribing to Bargain Bead Box, I will have the link in the description box below, and I will link my website as well, because you can purchase the Coriana chain and the clamshell closures on my website, as well as a bunch of other stuff. So anyway, you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!